Today, I'm joined by pretty much like a mutual friend, but, newer friend, Claire. Welcome to the Mike Squires and Friends podcast.
Hi, everyone.
So for someone who's never heard of you before, how would you describe yourself?
My name is Claire. I am the owner of Demon Child Clothing, and I recently started a live performance platform called
Oh yeah, I did see that. But let's hop right into Demon Child. So what inspired you to create the brand, create the company, and how did this all happen?
I went to college for biology. Like I went as a pre-med. I wanted to be a surgeon. And it was like 2018, 2019. I was going through a lot of like mental health challenges, and I needed like a creative outlet. I'd always seen like streetwear. I was interested in streetwear, but I decided to my mom actually told me to draw as like an outlet for my pain. So I started doing that on clothes, and I wanted the message like at the 2017, 2018, 2019, that like SoundCloud era of rap was really big, and it was glorifying kind of like struggling with mental health. So I wanted, as I healed, I wanted to be an example of being able to heal from mental health stuff and not glorifying it.
No, I feel that, and especially as like a creative, even myself included, have definitely had those days of struggles. Like what were some of the things that you were dealing with?
I had a lot of like issues from my childhood, but I also had a lot of like, I was very depressed, very anxious, and I had a very bad addiction problem. So I'm 5 years sober.
Congratulations on that.
Thank you. Yeah. So I was really just down, and I was like in a hole.
Did you have a moment where you realized that things needed to change for you?
Yes, 100%. Like right before I got sober, I kind of was like, I'm either gonna die or I'm gonna get sober, and I might as well give it 100%. I've never given healing 100%, and that I just made that one choice to give it my all, and I made sure that every day I put 100%, everything that I could give into healing.
Thank you for tuning into the Mike Squires and Friends podcast. You can support by subscribing on YouTube or downloading on your preferred podcast platform. And definitely go do that because it helps us grow and I can have more incredible guests on the podcast. The Mike Squires and Friends podcast is proudly sponsored by DistroKid. Looking to broaden your musical horizons as an artist? Discover DistroKid. With its smooth and rewarding music distribution platform, DistroKid offers unlimited uploads while ensuring artists retain 100% of their royalties and earnings. Join the community of over 1 million artists who trust DistroKid to distribute their music across major platforms like Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube, TikTok, Tidal, and so many others. Having personally used DistroKid since 2018, I can attest to their superiority amongst distribution services. Collaborating with fellow artists has become effortless, especially with the ability to easily send splits of songs, streamlining the creative process. With the DistroKid app, accessing these benefits is now more convenient than ever. Safely sign up or log in with two-factor authentication, upload releases on the fly, monitor earnings, and withdraw funds from your DistroKid bank. Stay updated on royalties through push notifications, effortlessly share hyperfollow links, manage account details seamlessly, and track streaming stats from Spotify and Apple. Additionally, explore Mixia for professional-grade mastering, DistroVid for music video distribution, and Instant Share for secure file sharing with collaborators, producers, and more. The DistroKid app is available on both iOS and Android. Download it today from the App Store or Google Play Store to revolutionize your music career. Visit distrokid.com/VIP/Mike Squires to get 30% off your first year membership. Now sit back, relax, and enjoy this episode of Mike Squires and Friends. So let's talk about, getting into creating the brand. What's one of the first steps that you took to do it?
Coming up with the name.
How did the name come to be? Yeah.
I had like all of these notebooks, and I would sit and I would write different words down all day. So I had like probably hundreds of names, and I knew when I got to one that when it felt right, I would do that one. So I wrote Demon Child down one day, and I felt it. So I was like, okay, we're gonna do that.
Demon Child's what my grandmother used to call me growing up. No, I'm just kidding.
Might have been.
But in my research, one thing that I thought was really cool and brought things to the next level is that you actually trademarked this.
Yes.
And I see a lot of clothing companies starting out. I know that they're not going to that level. You know what I mean? They're probably just getting clothes out. They're not So at what point are you trademarking Demon Child?
A day after. My dad, he's a businessman, so I just knew that there were certain things that if I were gonna go 100% in. I had to go 100% in.
Yeah.
It's probably like the next day. I also knew it was a really good name and people would want it. So
Yeah, you brought up your dad, and I want to pull it back to the clothing after, but your dad had a very successful liquor brand
he
company?
works with a bunch of different companies. He has, and I might totally butcher this, so he has like I'm not going to be able to say what he does, but he's a man of many hats, and he works with a ton of different companies. AU Vodka is one of them, and they're from the UK. They're coming over here now. And he does Milam and Green. He's did work on Terramana with The Rock. So he's done a bunch of different stuff.
That's amazing. How do you think that he has influenced you with what you do?
My dad, he took a huge risk starting his own business. Like, he has his own business. He used to work in banks, and I think seeing my dad take a risk, and be so scared and still providing for us, it gave me the mindset of like, take the risk, try your hardest. Like, I admire him for how he's done that.
I think it's a really admirable quality because it is scary taking risks, and we kind of were talking about this earlier before we got into the pod, but it's like, you really just don't know what's on the other side of it. So
Yes.
I want to pull it back to Demon Child, and when do you start getting momentum? What's your first moment of success look like?
I would say like in 2021, a little bit after the pandemic started, I had been working with this woman in Stanford who was like hand sewing all of these ski masks for me. And I was posting a lot, and I dropped the ski masks and they sold out in 4 minutes. And I was like, what the fuck?
That's insane. So what's that moment feel like,
It was weirdly like I had a horrible time in my personal life that day. It was like the worst day and the best day of my life because I had been going through so much that day. But then I looked at my phone and I was like, wow. So that's always kind of how things happen with me. It might be the worst thing in my life happening at the same time as the best thing in my life.
I relate to that sentiment too. And especially when you're like a business owner, your business could be thriving and doing great, but like, personal life being a struggle. I've definitely had days like that, even recently, where I'm just like, I'm not going on a date as much with my girlfriend. You know what I mean? So it's like, I don't want that to fall short. So it's like, I got to take a break from the work, but like something could be good on the work side and vice versa. My personal life. Yeah, it is really all balance. How do you balance, your work and personal life?
I probably don't, honestly.
I feel that. That's the honest truth, though.
Yeah, like I probably work until like at this point until I'm just like exhausted, and then I'll take a couple days off. Or like most of my family lives far away, so if they're in town for holidays, I try to spend it with them. But I probably work myself into the ground and then take a breather.
Yeah. So how do you come up with your designs?
My brain, I don't know. I would say like the time where I'm like driving in the car, like falling asleep, I just get like an image of something and then I make it. So I don't really have like a process other than like if I really need to think of it, I'll go drive in the car for a couple hours.
Are there designs that you make that, like how many designs do you make that actually become like a final product?
Probably like 10%. Yeah.
What do the other 90% look like that we don't see?
There's a lot of them. A lot of cut and sewn pieces that are a little bit more complicated or more expensive to make. I haven't done yet, but and some I just scrap. Some it doesn't fit the vibe. So I have a lot though. Yeah.
How do you source making these items though? Like if you have an idea, because I'd imagine different items take different things to pull off.
Yes. There's like just printed goods. I actually have somebody that prints my stuff here in the mall.
Is it the place that's next to the Hey Stanford store?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. I love those dudes. I think the dude's name is Nick in there.
Yes, he's amazing. He does most of like my printed goods, my embroidery. Like this is all
his embroidery is
design.
Really good.
He's amazing. And then the cut and sewn stuff, like anything that kind of requires somebody to actually make it from scratch, get it overseas. I have a woman that does like production management, so she makes the tech packs. So it's like a guide on exactly how to make it, and then somebody that kind of helps me get in touch with the right manufacturers because I've had the wrong ones and it's been horrible.
Can you tell me the story of going through the wrong manufacturer?
I had one guy. He did a great job on the first round. So I was like, okay, I'm good. You know, I did one run with him and he was great. Second run, it was when I moved back to Connecticut. I was going to do this collection and I had hired for the first time working with a rapper, Raw Swish through Murda.
Okay.
To do my first ever lookbook. I was so excited. So the clothes were supposed to come. They didn't come. That's how I ended up finding Nick, because I needed the clothes to be made anyway.
Like right now, too.
Yeah, I'm like, get these. The shoot is tonight, you know. And he's like, I can do it in an hour. I'm like, what the fuck? Okay, you know. But he finally, the factory sent the clothes, and I opened them up, and like the sizing was all wrong. So like a 3XL was a size large. That was the equivalent. They were dirty. They were like covered in this weird like black stains. The color of the shirt bled through into the print. It was a nightmare. And it was probably about, I would say like $4,000 worth of bulk clothes that were not sellable. It was an I almost quit after that. It was.
And so you reach out to them after you see the orders wrong. What was their response?
I'm sorry. I realized they looked bad, but I needed the money for my wedding. So
what a lame excuse. That's the worst thing. I realized they look bad, but he needed it for his wedding. That's crazy. Yep. And that's like also so heartbreaking for you, because it's like, you know, I've had moments where, you know, I've spent money that's been, you know, that I barely had personally.
Yes.
And it's just like for you to get burned on it, it's just like, I would want, you know, I've had those days where early on, not anymore, but definitely early on, I've had those feelings of just like, maybe this isn't for me.
Yes. Yeah. I had to take like a couple week break after that, because I was like, I can't.
But let's bring it to the end zone for this story. So you end up getting the stuff printed here with Nick, and how does the rest of it go?
I ended up basically like going through every single item, figuring out what I could sell, what I couldn't sell. Selling some of the ones that I couldn't sell for like nothing, like $10. And just kind of coming into like a breaking point and deciding like, okay, I have to figure out how to do this in a way that has less risk, and a way that doesn't make me totally vulnerable to paying for somebody's wedding accidentally. So.
Yeah. And did the shoot with Raw go well?
It was great. It was great. And that moment was kind of like the beginning stage for me working with as many artists as I do now. Yeah,
and you know, hear me out on this. That happening to you might have ended up being a good thing for you in the long run, because it just shows you that you're able to make things happen under pressure.
Yes, 100%. And meeting Nick, I would have never met Nick upstairs had that not happened. And Nick has been like a huge, like if I get a call from somebody, oh, you know, so-and-so is in New York, they want clothes. Nick can do it in 20 minutes. So
yeah, he's right here. He's quick.
Yes.
You know, quick Nick. That's what we should start calling him.
Yeah, 100%. He's amazing. So
yeah,
he's helped my business grow in ways that would have never happened had that not happened.
Yeah, you also mentioned that you worked with other artists. Like, who was the next artist that you worked with after Raw?
Famous Dex.
Okay.
It was like 6 months later, and I worked with Famous Dex, which is a crazy story.
We're here for it. That's why we're here for crazy stories. So you want to tell how that all came to be?
I had seen him posting like, you know, hit me up for business, clothing brands, whatever. So I hit up his manager at the time, and she booked me. I was so excited. Famous Dex was like my favorite artist when I was 18 or 17. Like Pick It Up, Japan, like that was my like teenage anthem. So I was super excited, and to me, it was like pretty cheap. So when it came to the time of the shoot, which was like 3 months later, he called me and he was like, yeah, I just fired this manager. She booked you for too low of a price. So I'm going to honor it because I just have a good feeling about it. And it was, he ended up coming. I helped him get over here, and he was saying to me, he's like, I just kept like, something kept, every time he wanted to be like, yeah, I'm not going. He's like, I saw a sign somewhere to keep going. So when he finally got there, we had an amazing shoot. And he had me saved in his phone as NYC shit money, July 12th. And he at the end was like, yeah, no, I really like you. Could you change your contact in my phone? Like,
That's a crazy thing.
so yeah, but it started like a really beautiful friendship that I've had with him, and being able to learn from him and like how he moves and how his creativity has been really helpful to me.
And what a great quality to have. Very rarely do you hear an artist come back and say, we booked you for too low. You know what I mean? Like, that's like, so, you know, I don't know Dex that well, but, you know, like hearing that, it's like, oh, my respect for him goes up, because he's like, it shows that he cares about the people around him, and he's not trying to take advantage of people and things like that.
100%. He really cares.
The music, I'm sure you know this, the music industry can be shady.
Yes.
There are dark shadows that you got to stay out of in this industry.
Yes.
What's a struggle that you had to overcome, you know, with creating your brand, or anything like maybe there was like a business transaction that didn't go well or something like that that you'd be willing to share?
I think just like on one side, like the marketing side, I'm really good on that side, and figuring out how to run the business end, like anything that's not creative has definitely been a struggle. And then I would say just like building up my confidence, like being okay with making a choice, I think has been a challenge. But there's been a lot of like, I have a lot of struggle stories, a lot of things that didn't go well. So I've learned a lot through mistakes, and I'm grateful for them.
What's one of the biggest things that you've learned?
I would say like to keep going. Like if something bad happens and it stalls you, maybe that was just meant to happen. Let it stall you and like find a way to pivot. And if you can keep pivoting, you'll build something that's better than you could have imagined. Had I had the same brand that I envisioned 6 years ago, I wouldn't like it now. So I'm grateful for all of the struggle.
Yeah. And what's something that you've been working on recently?
We just started this live performance platform. So
that's right?
Yes. Yeah, it's called and it's we do like Disney Channel intros. So it's like, hi, I'm Claire and you're watching and we have them like draw the little thing, which has been fun. I'm trying to like do something with live performance. We do skits in there just to make it a little bit like exciting, a better way for artists, not better, but a different way for artists to market music.
What inspired you to expand to this?
I've been wanting to do this for years, and on New Year's I was like, fuck it. I'm just doing it. I'm doing it. I love music and I love being creative, and this is a way that I can be a director and bring something to life in my head that fits.
Yeah, and what I've learned just like in the creative field as a whole, there's a lot of crossover, right?
Yes.
So even like with my podcast, you know, I have a lot of people that like I work with behind the scenes. Like I've had Murda on, who like people probably know that I've worked with in the past, but like might not know who he is because he's just the credit in the song.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
100%.
So there ends up being a lot of crossover. The point I'm trying to get to is like, have you found like a lot of crossover with Demon Child and
Yes. Yep. Yeah, I mean, there are kind of things that I can offer, I think, that make it like if you get a performance, you get a free sweatsuit, you know, that kind of stuff. So, but then wearing the clothes, it gives the clothes like a new like look. It's like it's like a movable lookbook, I guess, in some way.
Yeah. And you know, one of the biggest things in music and everything is networking, right?
Yes.
So how did you, like, what's your method of networking and meeting people, connecting with artists, connecting with other people? And are there other brands that you like talk with that like, you know what I mean? Just fill me in, I guess, in all that.
I think my main method of networking is say yes. Like I try to say yes to everything that I can. I mean, within reason, like I'm not going to, it's not like jump and how high, but like anytime anyone wants to meet me, I say yes. You never know who you're going to be speaking to. And I try to just always think about how I can bring value to people. I speak with a lot, like I have a clothing brand mentor. His name's Chris. He runs a clothing brand called Lord Knows. And he did a lot of work with like Suicide Boys.
Oh, insane.
Yes. Yeah. So he's been a great mentor to me. And then Juani at the studio.
Juani the legend, dude.
Yes. He's amazing. He helps me a lot with like PR, meeting artists. So he's been amazing. And Mike and Murda. So.
Yeah. What's been an incredible opportunity that's come up from Demon Child?
So many. I mean, I think just like getting to meet the people that I've met, like I was, I can say it now, but I was in a studio like 2 months ago, listening to Friday's album before it was released
Oh, that's
with
insane.
him. And I was like sitting in this chair and he's like standing in front of me singing these songs. And I was like, I just had this like, wow, like I don't know what got me into this room, but it was like I felt like a bird.
So how does that happen? What's the story there? Like how do you end up in Friday's room before, you know what I mean? Like give me the play-by-play on this one.
I had been waiting for Dusty Locane. This like starts like years before. I'd been waiting for Dusty Locane to come home. I'd been waiting for years. So probably like a year and a half. I had been stacking up clothes to give him for like a year and a half.
I kind of like have a slight memory. Like I wasn't obviously there, but was it at First Class?
No, but he came to First Class. I've seen him there a couple of times, but I had met him at Empire, and Juani was like, get the boxes ready. He's like texting me.
Wait. Hold on. I don't want to interrupt you, but I am interrupting you. I'm having like a flashback. You had to drive somewhere and be there like right now.
Yes.
Okay, let's take it from the top. Tell me this story. Yes.
I think Juani told this story on the podcast.
I want to hear from your perspective now.
Yes. So I had been getting these boxes ready for Dusty for like a year and a half, and Dusty was home. Juani was texting me like, be ready. So I was like, okay. I at like 10 in the morning, 11 in the morning, stacked up. I had, I think 17 boxes of clothes that I had custom designed, like Welcome Home Dusty. And I had them ready to go in my car. And he texts me, come right now. And I just am like, all right, bye. I get in the car and I drive there. And I had missed him so many times before he was away. So I was so excited. And then I ended up meeting a bunch of people at Empire who ended up connecting me to Friday's manager. And it was like one of those, okay, sometimes like waiting for something is good, because I met these people that have been like very, very life-changing for my career.
You know, the lesson there is, if you stay ready, you don't have to get ready.
Amen.
Yeah.
Amen.
So, moving down the timeline, what was like the next thing that happened after that? It's like so much. I had a surgery like right before then. And after my surgery, I was like, I am on go. I am running. I think actually probably around March meeting Boozy. I don't know if you know who Boozy is, but he's the artist. Oh yeah, I do know Boozy.
Yes, he's my videographer. And meeting him was pretty like changing, like life-changing for my career too, because I had been meeting the artists with no videographer. Like if I could get one, but
I know that struggle. I've met so many artists and I was the video guy. So there's no clips of me in the person.
Yep.
It's just
just your hands.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep. 100%. So we were just when I met Boozy, I was like, okay, now so I was meeting a bunch of people and getting it on camera. So that was very helpful.
Yeah. Cause the perception of it is everything. You know what I mean? Like just people seeing it, and like I've gotten way better at that in my later years, but man, I was like, I did Cardi B's album release party. There's not a single, I was next to her the entire night. Not a single photo. There's no proof that I was there. Like they can look at the footage and like, I could say that I took it and I did take it, but it's like, there's no way to know.
Right.
So no, there's a lot of value in what you're saying too, is getting a video guy.
Yes.
A camera person, just general.
The video guy is essential, 100%. And just to have because I am like, okay, somebody asked me to bring clothes. I'm like, yes, because you never know. Like the right person puts on the clothes, but I had no footage of it. So sometimes you go, I have brought clothes to probably like hundreds of different artists, and maybe 30 of them haven't posted it. Nobody knows that I did it. So it's like, okay, I'm going to bring you the clothes. I'm going to get something out of it.
Yeah, that's actually a really smart strategy too. So this way you're also like not waiting on them or something that might not even happen. You know what I mean?
Right.
You're kind of just like, it's a shot in the dark. You're like, here, take the clothing.
Yep.
Instagram, please, dude.
100%. And sometimes they're like, I wear it all the time. It's like my lounge wear. And I'm like, yeah. So it's not an Instagrammable for some people. So I like to just get, my own.
How important is it having like an artist or brand ambassadors for your brand? Like, how does that really help push the needle? Like, what have you found from your experience?
I think it kind of depends on the brands. Like for my brand, I think because of the name is a little bit hard to market. It adds to the brand identity in a way that I don't think I could do it somewhere else or with something else. But for some people, all they need is like a photo shoot and, a couple pictures and they're good. But I think for what I'm doing, it works.
Yeah. Claire, I want to bring it back to your story a little bit. I feel like we're talking a lot about Demon Child, which in many ways I think is you.
Yes.
You know what I mean? But I want what was it like growing up for you? How did we end up to the Claire that we know today?
Yeah, I mean, it's a
big timeline
big
there.
Question. Yeah, no, I mean, I lived in England until I was 8.
I did not know that.
Yes, yeah. I keep my British passport in my wallet in case I ever just want to flee. So we came here from England when I was 8, which was a big culture shock. You would think it would be pretty similar. It was very different.
Is your whole family English?
Yes.
Did you guys have the accent?
I did. I
don't hear it now.
No, it's YouTube.
YouTube?
Yes, I watched YouTube to get rid of my accent. Yes.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
Did you guys have it? Mom's in the building with us.
No, she's from Philly. My dad is from there, but he does some words will slip out that sound a little British, but no. Yeah.
No, that's very interesting. I didn't know that. So you come here at age 8. What's going on?
I was like, whoa, America's crazy. That's what I was definitely like. The first meal we had, I think, was Bertucci's, and I was like, what is this? Like, the portion sizes were so much bigger, like the place was so loud. I was like, overstimulated. School, I was overstimulated. Like the school I went to in England, you could not like yell. I don't know if that makes any sense, but like, the kids were getting off the bus, they're like running and like yelling at my public school.
Oh yeah, that's all I know.
Yes.
I can't imagine a quiet bus.
Yeah, no, it was like you had to be completely quiet in England. So I remember sitting on the bus the first day and everybody was like yelling. I was like, what are they doing?
Were you like the shy kid because of this?
I think so, yeah. Yeah. The way they educated me in England was a little bit different. So I would say like in some areas like reading, I was like a little bit farther ahead. So I felt and then culturally, like the way you eat in England, the way that you socialize, like everything is very different. So I was definitely closed off for.
What was like the biggest difference?
I would say like probably the social aspects. Like I there was
Do you have a story? It sounds like you have a story.
Yeah, I remember like getting to line up, which stressed me out. Like my mom could attest to this, lining up, because in England you would just line up. It's called the queue. You would just get in the queue and everybody would be quiet. Remember we were like getting into line to go in from recess, and the teacher was like, like saying everybody be quiet, and one kid goes, "Shut the fuck up," and I was like
flabbergasted.
I didn't even know what swear words were. So like I had to learn that, but I was like, wow, he just spoke back to the teacher. You could not do that in England.
What would happen if you did that in England?
You would get like locked in a closet pretty much.
That's crazy.
So.
Yeah, they run a tighter shift over there.
Oh yeah, 100%.
And here I am, we're talking about England rocking the most American flag suit of all time.
Yep.
No, that's insane. That's insane. Is there something that you miss about England?
I mean, now that I feel like I'm pretty Americanized now, so probably not. But I think just the calmness, like I like when I go there, I can just go, it's very calm. I mean, at least where I go. It's probably not everywhere.
Yeah, where do you go in England?
London.
Okay.
London. But yeah, I went in 2021. I stayed in Battersea and it was lovely.
Yeah, I've been a couple times. 2, I think out of the 3 or 4 times I went, they were working on Big Ben. So it was devastating. Scaffold, like I basically I was on tour for an artist, so like I was there for work, but to travel far to see scaffolding is not fun.
No. You can see that at home.
All right, so let's move down the timeline. So you're back in the U.S. What are some of your hobbies and interests growing up?
Probably like drinking. This is like probably not the right thing to say, but it's the truth. I mean, I think I kind of from like 14 years old, I was pretty depressed, and I just used drinking as like a coping skill. And then by the time I was like 18, I got really into medical stuff. So I was like going for my EMT license. I had my phlebotomy license, like blood drawing license for a bit, and then I went to BU, Boston University, for I was a triple bio major. I was a cell bio, molecular bio, and genetics major at BU for a couple of years, and I dropped out to do this. So
I want to cover a lot of stuff than what you just said. So with some of the drinking stuff, how did you get introduced to that, and how, if you're comfortable talking about that?
Yeah, I mean, I think I was always kind of like attracted to it. Like I think the first time I drank was like me and my buddies like stole, something from our parents, and then I was like, wow, this is great. You know what I mean? I felt like my head went quiet for the first time ever. So
Yeah. And then, you talk about you're sober now.
yes.
Yeah. So what was the process of just like you getting sober and like really prioritizing that?
It was really hard. I would say like the first year was really hard. And I got sober 2 months before the pandemic started. Like I got 2 months sober the day before we went into lockdown. So I think just like staying with other sober people and just trying to put one foot in front of the other for the first year was really, really necessary.
Yeah, especially during the pandemic, because like I think friends around that time. A lot of my friends kind of went backwards during that time because there was nothing to do. So it's definitely a tough time for that. And I've grown up around people. I've had alcoholics in my family and stuff, and thankfully they're on a good path now.
Amazing.
But it is a struggle, and it's a tough thing to overcome. And it's like, from my experience at least, it's something that until they want to change, there really isn't a change. Is that kind of what the situation was with you?
Yeah, I had probably many intervention-esque things with my family. I think my mom got me, 3 books. What was the title? It was like How to Stop Drinking, and 3 different times. So I have 3 copies of this book. But I made the final decision, I think, and nobody could make it for me.
Yeah. Well, now that you're sober, like what's one of the biggest things that, obviously there's a lot of differences, but like what's one of the biggest things in your life that you like feel now?
I would say just like being able to experience something. Like I couldn't have done the healing that I've done without getting sober. So to be able to like sit here with you and just experience it, or to be able to like be in that room with Friday and just enjoy it and experience it, I think has been such a blessing. I could not be in my body, and now being able to just feel the world, I guess, has been beautiful.
And you said like being present, like to me, that's something even I struggle with now. You know what I mean?
Yes.
In the sense where it's like, I'm always wondering what the next thing is. I'm wondering what you know what I mean?
Yes.
So I'm always like, for me, it's like my work. I get caught up in that. But, there is something to be said about being present and just like focusing on the now, because it's really all we have at the end of the day. I know that sounds like kind of corny.
No, it's so true. It's so true. And you miss like your whole life if you just can't be there. Like,
no, it's true. And like just the memory, because at the end of the day, like all we have is our memories. And it's like, 2 things I've learned. 1, you want to be present. 2, you really want to experience it with somebody else, because I've had some really cool things happen in my life that I did alone. I have nobody to talk to it with. You know what I mean? So it's like, it is cool, but it's like, it's just me telling a story about, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's different when
100%.
someone experiences it.
100%.
I want to get back to some of the medical stuff. You know what I mean? Like there was a lot to unpack there, and you're going to have to repeat it for me because I'm not going to be able to repeat it back to you.
Yep.
But what inspired you to go down that path?
I just found it super interesting. At the time, I mean, I still do, but maybe for like a different, more personal reason. But at the time, I found it super interesting. I really wanted to be a surgeon. I don't know why. I would read books on it. I had like, this is probably a weird thing to say on here, but I had like fake skin that I would practice stitches on.
No, I think that's a good, honestly, like what a great way to learn. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? I wouldn't want someone to like, oh, all right, first time. You
Yeah,
know, it's
no,
like-
I was very hands-on with it. So I just liked, I guess, like the healing part of it, but I also really liked the science of it.
Yeah. No, that's cool. So what was and I'd be curious about this, like what was the moment where you were like, I'm going to put this down. I'm not going to focus on my medical career and I really want to focus on the art of things, because that's that right there in itself is a big choice.
Yes. And like around the time I started Demon Child, I had kind of like a life-changing, whatever, like a negative experience, I guess I could say, where I felt kind of like my brain shifted. And after that, I tried to go back to BU. I tried to go back and be the person that I was before that. And I just couldn't. So I think I gave it another like 3 years of trying to, so I'm like, I do love this. I loved this so much, but it didn't fit. And then when I moved back here from Boston, I finally laid it to rest, which was painful, but necessary.
If you're okay to share, what was that negative experience?
It was just something really traumatizing.
We don't have to talk about it.
Yeah.
We'll keep it pushing. So moving on. So you get into Demon Child. What's been like the most rewarding thing about having your own company, and what's been fulfilling to you about this?
I think just like the process of thinking of an idea and then it like becomes a reality, I think is like never ceases to amaze me. Like I might have an idea of something to put on a t-shirt and then I can feel it, I can look at it, and to have other people kind of like that too, I think is cool. But that part of it really.
Yeah, having something tangible really does make a difference. I've like learned that. Basically, this whole shelf is, for the most part, like tangible stuff, that either knickknacks or some tangible stuff. Really, actually, there's a few things. I just set up this shelf today, but the book is me.
Yes. Yes, and like putting the book together and seeing like, whoa.
You can just create something out of nothing.
Mm-hmm. And this was in my brain, and now it's like in my hands.
What keeps you motivated?
I think just like continuing to be creative. Like I could be having like the worst day of my life, and then I'll go to a shoot and we'll be doing like the live performance or something, and it'll completely shift my mood. And it's like following what makes me feel good, I would say.
I think it's important to find those things in your life too. I found mine reasons. For me, it's like working out. I didn't think it like, and don't get me wrong, I'm not like trying to be a bodybuilder out here, you know what I mean? But to me, it's like yesterday I was kind of telling you about before this, like the event that I'm doing, and I was stressing about the food vendor. After I like went to my workout, wasn't even stressing anymore. I was like, you know what? We're all good.
Grounded. Immediately grounded.
So I think for anybody who's listening, like I think it's just important to kind of find that thing for them that like can,
zen you out and follow that.
Yeah. What do you hope to see for yourself in the future?
I really hope that, I can, like, I always feel like saying like, oh, I hope I'm successful is like a little bit contrived, but I would love to kind of be able to really make an impact on people, one with Demon Child, and build a community of people. Like I would love to really see people shifting to resilience. Like you can go through whatever, you could go through the worst thing ever, but you can get back up and you can build a life for yourself. And I'd love to make a community of people who are uplifting each other. And for the live performances, I'd love to be doing events. I want to do like a Demon Child album.
That'd be sick.
Yeah.
Let me know. I'll throw a beat on there.
Awesome. Perfect.
Assuming you'll have me. Yeah, I don't want to invite myself to a party.
No, please do.
I mean?
Please do. Always.
Yeah.
So that would be, hopefully.
And you mentioned the word success. And I always find this interesting to ask people, because people have very different definitions of success. What does success mean to you?
I think just really being able to like, I think I have been successful and like what I've done is successful, but to really be able to like fund my life and fund other people, like family and friends, and not have to worry about anything is probably my definition of success. I don't want to be like a billionaire. I just want to be able to help out my family and friends and, not worry about anything.
I completely understand that too. And, being a creative too, and I'm sure you can attest to this, it's like, what's the next rung on the ladder? Because you can like have that, you know, and even on this pod, you've talked about like moments that you had, like, you know, the raw swish suit, you know, that to me is like, it's one of the rungs, but then it's like, what's the next thing? What's the, you know, do you ever find yourself getting caught up on like, you know, just focusing so much on the future that like you're not in the now?
I probably don't focus enough on the future. Like I'm almost kind of like what you were saying earlier about like running around. Like I'm probably now at this point so busy. I'm like running around. I got a million things to do. Somebody, you know, hits me up to do blah, 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 that I'm like, I actually have like no mental real estate to even think about the future. And I probably need a little more downtime to plan better.
Yeah, no, I definitely understand that too. So it's like, what do you know what? I'm going to pull this a little bit to the left. What's a fact, a weird thing that no one would know about Claire? Just random left field thing. I changed gears pretty heavy there.
Yeah, what would nobody know about me? I mean, weirdly, not weirdly, but most people don't know I own Demon Child. So that might be the one fun fact for anyone watching this right now, that I actually own Demon Child.
No, and I think that is important to get out there too. I mean, we talked about it in the pod, so, but it's just good to reiterate that too. And you also have grown up a solid social media following with the brand.
Yes.
You know, what went into doing that, and where have you found the most success with doing that?
At the beginning, I was like, this is going to sound insane, but I would literally sit in my bed, like after class or whatever, for like 8 hours and comment on people's pages to get followers and to grow an audience until I reached the point where I could run ads, basically. And then through the ads don't really work because of the name. So we've, you know, done a lot of trial and error, but also through working with a lot of the artists and that kind of stuff, that has taken it off. So.
No, and honestly, it's one of those stories where it's like you just do what you can until you can do what you want. You know what I mean? So
100%.
Because there's a lot of people that wouldn't spend the 8 hours commenting. No. I've been there before too. Like, and you know, there's ways that you can target it too. So like, for example, like if you knew that you're kind of like the 2017, 2018, like SoundCloud era, you know, you can go to people that follow the artists that you think are in that realm.
Exactly.
And target those people. Is that what you were doing?
Yep.
Exactly. I've been in the game. I got some skin in this game.
Yeah, and that was like a big thing at that point. Instagram kind of shut it down eventually, but that was a big, pretty easy thing to do.
There's things that you can do now too. Like I know people will go through so they'll go like, let's say, I don't know who a good comparison, I don't know, DJ Khaled, whatever. I'll go to DJ Khaled's page. You can go to people that follow him and you'll see their stories. You can click, I don't do this because I just don't have the capacity. Yeah, the capacity. But I know that this is what people do. They'll like go through the stories and like they'll like all the stories, and that'll be like the thing. And they'll also make sure that their account, because you can pay for verification now.
Right.
So they'll pay for verification and then do it, because then when you do that, like at the top of their stories is you.
Right.
So that's a way that people,
getting innovative.
Have there been any like weird things that you've done for promo, or like weird, just something that was like really unique to like promote your brand that you thought was just like out of the box?
Oh, that's a good question. I mean, probably. I would say like most of the stuff that I do is like a little bit out there and weird. The weirdest one, I can't think of right now. I mean,
no, you're good. You making me think of like my weirdest. I was like, what is the weirdest thing that I've done? I have a song with Raff that is like absolutely, well, you know, that's kind of a fun, I've never told this story really. I have 2 songs with Raff. The first one was so terrible that we had to do a second one, and the second song is okay.
Okay.
But that one was a weird one because I just like, it's a random combo, you know?
Yeah.
It just, I kind of remember how that happened, but if
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's silly. If there's something that like, what's your message to the world? If there was something that you want to be remembered for, what is it, Claire?
There was something I hope that like no matter what I'm doing, I can bring something positive to people. Like that's kind of like, and I hope that through doing that, people pass it forward. So I hope to just positively impact somebody's life and then allow them to do that for someone else. And that's like, I'm very big on, helping other creatives, helping people get clothing brands started, helping people. I'm always available to help. And with Demon Child, I hope that it really does get the message across of resilience and community.
No, I really love that too, because that was some of the best advice that I've ever gotten, was because I've had people help me out that I always felt like I needed to pay back, but they weren't in the position that I was in. You know what I mean? So it was hard for me to do it. So the advice I got was to pay it forward. And that's been like something that's been very powerful in my life. So that when I see those instances, I was like, oh, you were me a couple years ago. You know what I mean? So
100%.
Has there been an instance where you paid it forward, or somebody else that you helped or looked out for that, was like rewarding to you, or a project that you worked on that was just rewarding in general?
I mean, I think anyone that I've worked with, honestly, in New York, maybe not anyone I've worked with in New York, but a lot of the people that I've worked with in New York, they come from a different background than me, and just being able and have different way of coping with their life or whatever it is, and hearing their story and getting to meet so many different people from so many different backgrounds, and understanding how they've grown up and how they are, what they're trying to achieve. Just listening to people, I think, has been super rewarding. And seeing people come up from nothing and achieve something, I think, is so beautiful.
It really is. And it's kind of like the theme of this pod, like building something from nothing,
Yes. Yep.
Yeah. I'll end it. What's something, what would be I'll ask you kind of like a generic question just because I'm curious, but what's your dream collab? What would you love to see happen for you in the future? I want to put this out there so that we're manifesting it to happen.
Yes. I mean, honestly, weirdly, my dream collab is working with Narcotic, little NARS brand.
Okay.
For clothing. But I think for an artist, Cardi B. I would love to work with Cardi B.
One time I was with Cardi B standing next to her, but there's no photo to prove it.
No,
that would be incredible.
I'll work with her, and then we'll have to bring you out to get a photo.
She's not going to remember. Yeah, she's not going to remember me.
Just for the photo.
It was such a weird instance, but it was me, Cardi B, her sister Hennessy.
Yes.
Sister Hennessy, and Kevin Lyles, and Leor Cohen. I'm the odd. These are Leor Cohen and Kevin Lyles are music execs. You know what I mean? And then it's me, and I'm just in that particular instance, I felt like the odd one out, but I always try to remind myself, if I'm there, I'm meant to be there.
100%.
Have you ever had instances where you're that maybe that's the Friday situation too?
100%.
Where it's if you're there, you're meant to be there.
100%. I always make a joke to my mom that Dusty Locane in particular sees me in the most random settings, and I'm I wonder if he thinks what is Claire doing here again? But yeah, I've definitely, there's a lot of rooms where I'm I'm not supposed to be here. And then I have to remind myself I am. I got myself here. And I always remember to be very grateful. I feel if you lose that, then you can lose your character.
Why is that important to you?
I just, I've struggled so hard to make it work. And I just have so much gratitude every time something happens. And I feel if I lose that, then I lose the specialness of how hard I've worked, and I'll lose a part of myself, and I don't want to lose that part of myself.
No, I feel that 100%. Cause I feel very similar to that, even with cause I'm grateful. I haven't had to ever work another job in my life. I caddied for a day. I shadow caddied, where I followed someone but I didn't get the job. So I was all right, video guy, musician, red, white, and blue suit 5 years from now. You know what I mean? It's but no, I think it is a great quality. Claire, I'm going to pull this to the end zone. If people want to find you and connect with you, how can they?
At Demon Child Co. on Instagram. And then we have Huh Live, which is literally Huh Live, on YouTube and Instagram. And that's.
Yeah. And I want you to plug it. Because, a lot of people that come on here just kind of plug their music. I want you to plug your clothing brand.
Yes, Demon Child Clothing, and demonchild.us. Should we do a little
We could. We'll look at the camera. So walk me through it.
Okay. So you look at the camera and be hi, I'm Mike Squires, and you're watching And then
do I do it like Mickey Mouse, or it's like this, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Mike Squires, and you're watching, huh? I hope that was good.
Perfect.
You know? But yeah, but also, thank you for coming. You're the first person to come on with the set being closer to the set now. We have the curtains. It's a big day.
It looks awesome. I can attest. It looks great.
We're getting there. It looks
amazing.
Yeah, it's funny. Last night, the security guys roamed the hallways here, and I left the door open a crack. And not all of them know that I'm back here. So he opened the door and he was like, what the hell is going on in here? Because everyone else is like storage back here.
Right. He was like, whoa.
Yeah. But yeah, Claire, I just want to thank you for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, no. And I'm sure that we're going to connect and work on some stuff in the future. And
definitely.
I'm excited.
100%. Awesome. Well, thank you so much.